Hey y'all, before we get rolling, if you run a nonprofit, this is for you. Comfy Stone just released a free 90-day donor retention checklist to help you keep more donors through authentic storytelling. Get your copy at comfystone.com/checklist or click the link in our show notes. Now let's dive into this week's episode. Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Missions by You. Today we're joined by Emily Snyder. Emily is the program manager at Urban Conservancy, a nonprofit working to strengthen the New Orleans urban environment and local economy. Welcome to Missions by You, Emily.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So let's start with, what is the mission of Urban Conservancy?
So Urban Conservancy leads and collaborates to help strengthen, as you said, our local economy and local land use. And so we do that through two basic program areas. One is Stay Local, our area's Independent Business Alliance. And I noticed on the door that the studio that we're in is a Stay Local member, which is awesome. It's regional, not citywide. And then we do that through stormwater management and helping people understand and access residential green infrastructure, meaning put spaces on their property that water can soak into when it rains so that we can preserve our stormwater rather than having it flood our properties and streets.
Mm-hmm. And what are the different kinds of programming Urban Conservancy offers within those two kind of fields?
So we provide support for people installing green infrastructure all over the place. We have a decade's worth of technical resources on our website, and we take phone calls from ordinary people every day who have just questions about how to go about their installations. We're always happy to answer the phone, talk people through things, refer them to people who can maybe be more help in a specific area. And we install and help communities with larger installations. For example, we're working with a few New Orleans East neighborhoods right now to develop a water management master plan for themselves after helping them tackle an area, a very specific area that they were concerned with. We have a youth program called Basin that teaches middle schoolers how to assess a problem in an area they care about and then present a solution, a well thought through solution to that problem to decision makers. We have our native plant sign program that helps to mark and protect and create awareness around native plants, as well as we do a lot of tree canopy protection advocacy now. And one program I'd like to talk about is our upcoming series, FYI Fridays, or the FYI Friday Summer Series, where we'll be hosting several back-to-back events over the summer to, I say back-to-back, once-a-month events to get people together around the topic of green stormwater infrastructure and do some teaching, do some learning, do some creating connections.
You guys are stacked.
Yeah.
Wow.
Do a lot.
Yeah, you do a
Quite
lot.
busy, yeah.
How do middle schoolers get involved in the program? Is it through schools or?
Mostly through word of mouth. We do some advertising. We've done some advertising in schools, but at this point, we've got a pretty diverse group of kids from all over the city.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
I think you'd be really we spoke about it briefly in your prep for this
interview.
We did. So the middle school kids get to come in, and they get to select what problem they want to try to find a solution for, or do you guys, jog my memory, how does it work again?
So we have a topic.
Mm-hmm.
Our topic this year is urban habitat. And that was informed by the kids' interests last year.
Mm-hmm.
So we are exploring all about urban habitat with them. And around the middle of the year, they'll pick something that has inspired them. So in our last class, we went to Couturier Forest in City Park. And the kids were saying that we went with a fantastic bird watcher and educator. And we talked about things like noise pollution and light pollution. We talked about invasive species, toxins in the water, water pollution.
Mm-hmm.
And so it gives the kids an idea of how they can form a connection with something, and then maybe there's something negative affecting it that they could have some sort of effect on. So that's our model.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I did have a question about the New Orleans East programming you're doing. Was that just a bunch of neighbors that got together, or was that a formal neighborhood coalition that came to you?
Initially, it was one neighbor. there's a group of 3 neighborhoods in New Orleans East right across the Danziger. They call themselves the Gateway to New Orleans East. They're actually in District D, even though most people think all of New Orleans is District E. So it gets kind of politically confusing for them. And no, not for them, they understand, but for everybody else,
Yes.
Who's responsible for serving them the way others are served in the city. And one neighbor who's engaged in this sort of work, who's in our industry, said, we really need some green infrastructure in my neighborhood. Come to my neighborhood, meet our neighborhood leaders. Let's take a walk around. We did that. We spent a long time building a relationship with them. We brought huge groups of volunteers when the Lutheran Youth Convention was in town to clean out storm drains. Worked with them a lot. Got a grant to do this project along a couple of blocks. Well, the project was, let's install some green infrastructure in your neighborhood, a few little demonstration projects, do some education. And in a neighborhood meeting, all of the neighbors were really able to say, this is the spot. There was a 2-block stretch of Dwyer Road where the ownership of it is confusing. And so it doesn't get maintained. It was incredibly overgrown. Working with the neighbors to develop a solution, we had volunteers clear a ton of the overgrowth. It took hours. It filled 2 dumpsters. And we put down rain gardens full of irises and hibiscus and planted 3 huge cypress trees. So now it's beautiful. The irises are out there blooming right now. Well, by the time this is released, probably the season will be past, but the cypress trees will be, fully leafed out. And now we're working with them on a separate grant to create this neighborhood master plan. So really, it's all about coming into a community that you've been invited into that already understands what its problems are. People don't need to be told what their problems are. And that's a big belief of ours, that everybody is the expert of their lived experience.
For sure.
And so all we need to do is provide some of the technical support and the nitty gritty, in the industry details. And they can say, all right, now I can apply this to my problems.
Yeah.
Right.
So
something I've learned with working with nonprofits to do similar work, protect tree canopy, try to bring back green spaces into the cityscapes, you have to get everyone on board in the sense of sometimes we forget how good we have it until all the trees are gone.
Yes.
Until we don't have any flowers on our walk in our neighborhood.
Yes.
And unfortunately, you kind of have to wait. I think sometimes you kind of have to let people get to that point of oh, no, where are my trees? And then invite you in. So then you can be like, yeah, now you're locked in. We're going to plant these trees, and you're going to instill in the next generation and your neighbors how important it is to keep these trees.
Yeah. I hope, though, that you're wrong that we have to wait till all the trees are gone.
Because
a Lorax situation.
Well, one thing that we're fond of saying, because we obviously support the planting of trees. We have fantastic nonprofits in the area that are doing that work. What has been really missing, though, up until the last maybe year, is protecting the trees we already have, because we're fond of saying that nothing can create a 100-year-old oak tree except for 100 years. So if we want to maintain our tree canopy, we need to act now. And the big problem that we see with the tree canopy is actually city-run road work. That cities send contractors out to work on the trees. They do not take the proper precautions to protect the trees. And then what happens is the trees go into decline, which means they die over the course of maybe 10 years.
Yeah.
So 10 years later, when that tree is looking real bad and needs to come down, nobody's connecting it to those contractors that were hacking away at its roots with an excavator 10 years ago and then poured concrete on them. And the misinformation around trees is strong. I had a contractor once tell me, don't worry about this tree. It's older than our grandparents. I said, you know that age does not protect something from death, right?
Right.
The work you're doing right now will kill this tree.
We should care about the tree, whether it is older than our grandparents or just 20 years old. Either way, you should be concerned that, to your point, if an excavator comes and digs at the roots of the tree, we're going to mess up the tree. I feel like 1 + 1 = 2 there.
Yeah. People think that just because trees are big means that they're, I don't know, indestructible. Thank you. And it's just not simply it's not the case. They're living beings. They need their bodies need to be protected,
Mhm.
you know? So, so that's what we're working on is helping the city hold contractors accountable, pushing for better protections, and a lot more public visibility around the problem. People get angry when the trees on their block disappear. That is
Yeah.
definitely for certain. So actually one thing that we have developed is a page on our website where people can report that their tree has been damaged. We're working on a revamp of our website right now. I would recommend to your listeners and viewers that if you've got trees on your block that you think are being damaged by road work or are in danger of being taken down, you don't think they should be taken down, they look healthy, email us at info@urbanconservancy.org, and we'll elevate that story.
I love that. In those circumstances when you didn't ask for the road work,
Right.
you have no control over who shows up, when they show up. You do feel powerless when things start happening to the landscape around your home, and you don't know how to speak up on your own behalf, let alone the behalf of the flora that exists in your everyday. So to have that website feels very empowering.
I'm glad you think so. You can go to our website, find our tree protection page, send us your story, send us photos, and we encourage everybody to ask questions if you see road work happening right around trees and you don't see it. Like the big visual cue is an orange protective barrier right around the tree. A tree should have an orange protective barrier on all three sides. There should be nothing piled up on the roots. There should be no big construction equipment anywhere around the roots, working on the roots. If you see anything like that happening, or even if you're not sure, you can ask the contractors questions. We recommend saying, are you following tree protections? Did you agree to? We recommend taking pictures of the logo on the truck of the work itself. You do not need to take pictures of workers' faces because we want to protect people. They're just doing their jobs. And reporting it to the city because it's the city's job to hold them accountable.
Thanks for sharing those tips, because I was thinking it would be something I wouldn't visually be able to see, like it'd be underground. But I like that there's very easy visible things I can see from my house, from the sidewalk,
from your car,
that are like red flag, red flag, red flag. If I don't see these things and I can act on it. To piggyback what Brenna was saying about the empowerment of it, it sucks because we live in a city where, one, the road work will happen and then probably need to re-happen again. And so it's like, I want road work that lasts, and I want to not damage my trees. And I feel like those two things aren't a tall ask.
Yeah.
I don't think it's crazy.
No.
Yeah, and I mean, road work that lasts, road work that is coordinated with the necessary road work of every agency in the city. It's not. It's just never been the tree protection aspect has never been something that's been expected of contractors before. Our city's tree protection ordinance was just updated last year for the first time since 1956.
Wow.
And we believe City Council really fell short of updating the language to adequate levels and levels that are in line with other major cities that have much more tree canopy than we do. So this is really an effort that takes we weren't even planning on talking about this. I'm so glad we're talking about
I'm like,
eventually
get to front yard, but this is,
it's such an important issue, and it's one that is so easy for everybody to participate in. And I mean, if you see something you don't like happening with trees, call 311. Call Parks and Parkways, be the squeaky wheel. Like, we need to be a squeaky wheel around this issue. So, because our urban heat effect is not getting better.
Right.
The trees, they clean the air, they cool us down. They're beautiful. They create a sense of place. They create habitat. They lower crime. Did you know that tree canopy cover lowers crime, and no one's really sure why? For every 12% of increased tree canopy, crime in a neighborhood drops by 10%. So what an easy and inexpensive way to lower crime.
Yep. Yeah.
In a beautiful way.
But it takes care. It takes deliberation, and it's easy for people to get involved.
Yeah. And they are your stormwater solution.
Absolutely.
Every time you see a tree, you should think of it as a tall column of water.
Yeah.
that is being saved from being in the street, being in your house, flooding the drains. Like,
Yeah.
you plant trees because they store the water up,
Mhm.
you know? So we're taught, I think, that trees are just optional and really, nice.
Yeah.
But if you don't have them, it's not a big deal. But it is a huge deal.
It's a huge
It's a
deal.
really big deal.
And speaking of those trees and stormwater, I heard a really talented landscape designer and arborist named Joseph Evans, who will probably be embarrassed that I'm shouting him out if he hears this. He said he said a couple really smart things. One was, we think we need all of this in-ground stormwater infrastructure. We do need it. We need our pumping system, to be clear, but that it needs to be maintained. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of expense. It degrades over time. But a cypress tree, if it's healthy, can live for 1,000 years, and you never need to do a thing to it. And so why isn't that our go-to stormwater system?
Correct.
In addition, we think of stormwater as a waste product, and what we need to be thinking of it as is a precious resource. And the more trees we have and the more stormwater we can get into the ground, instead of just running off into a stormwater system being pumped against gravity into Lake Pontchartrain, which is a brackish system, and here we are pumping all this extra stormwater in it. We need to be holding on to our stormwater and doing really healthy things with it. It needs to be rejuvenating our soil, and it needs to be watering our trees and our gardens.
Right.
So,
yeah.
Real quick, guys, did you know it can cost up to 7 times more to find a new donor than to keep one you already have? That's why at Comfy Stone, we created a free 90-day donor retention checklist. It's simple, step-by-step guide that shows you exactly what to do after someone donates. From how to thank them to how to tell stories that keep them engaged and giving all year long. You can grab your free copy at comfystone.com/checklist or click the link in our show notes. All right, let's get back to the show.
The stormwater is a major reason why Urban Conservancy is doing the FYI series, right? The Front Yard Initiative.
Yes.
Can you speak a little bit about that program and how you'll be building on it with the Friday Summer Series?
Yeah. So, unfortunately, our incentive program that we're kind of famous for has had to sunset with the moving on of philanthropic priorities.
Yeah.
We always saw FYI as something in which we gave reimbursements to homeowners for removing the concrete on their properties. We always saw it as a model. It was always supposed to be a model for something that could be scaled by the city. That never happened. And truth be told, the financial incentive was so small compared to the cost of an installation. It was crucial for getting people in the door. And we need our leadership to understand that that is an absolutely essential part of any stormwater program. We're starting to watch for conversations around a stormwater fee, which we hope would be implemented. And we hope that some of that money would go towards giving help to homeowners who want to install green infrastructure, or credits to those who already have it. But what we're doing now, a big call for our participants in the past has been more education and advocacy. And so the FYI Summer Series is a series of 3 happy hour events. It's going to be the second Friday of May, June, and July. Really fun events around this topic. In one, we're going to do kind of a home and garden tour to see installations that already exist. And learn a little bit about kind of the ins and outs, hear from the homeowners about what it's like to install this stuff, to give people a chance to understand it in the real world. One is going to be what we call Night Out with Native Plants, which is becoming a tradition of ours. We've done it for 2 years in a row. Every year it looks a little bit different, but the idea is that we're highlighting native plants. We have some light refreshments, some drinks, some nibbles, and we hear from experts on different topics in native plants. And it's always a lot of fun. It's always a really lovely evening, because it's one of those topics. I feel like in nonprofits we can get awfully heavy, and this one's just inspiring, like to talk about native plants and how we can bring just more beauty to the city while also increasing habitat, helping our soil, stormwater, all of the above, and yet it's flowers, right? And then the third event is going to be about advocating for green infrastructure in the city when removing the pavement on your property is not an option. So what are some other ways to do it? Things we've already talked about. Paying attention to conversations about a stormwater fee, helping with the tree canopy efforts, planting native plants. Things like if you see a new green infrastructure installation go in, if you suddenly see a bunch of trees go up, call city council and tell them you love it. All, you know,
That's the point.
Look, politicians are people and we all love positive, you know, reinforcement.
Yeah.
We all love encouragement. We all love to be told we're doing a good job, and that makes us want to do better. So I'm a big believer in like calling. I call politicians. I hate when they do something I do like. I call it like that. Like, let me put you on the right path here.
Yeah.
But
do more of this, please.
do more of this. We like this.
Yeah.
Not this other thing. Do this. So that's what the third in the series is about. Is about ways to get involved in this movement and make a real difference when you can't, you know, dig up concrete on a residential property. So we're excited about those. We hope people come. We want to have a good time around this stuff. We want to introduce you to really interesting, knowledgeable people. We love propping up the green sector, people who engage in this kind of work for a living, the contractors and so forth. We want to introduce you to people who are experts on native plants and trees and all the things that we're interested in, because we have such an incredible network here of people who are really engaged in this work. So
I think that's a great, like, kind of low stakes way to be introduced to this information.
Yeah.
And also, like, in a fun community atmosphere.
Yeah.
This is one of, I think, native plants and urban advocacy is one of those places where the hard work kind of has a pretty immediate gratification because the flowers
Yeah.
are blooming and
Yeah.
the people are lovely, and it's like maybe city council didn't do what we wanted this one time, or maybe I have had a defeat here and there, but there's still drinks and the irises are blooming and I still feel good. You know?
Yeah. We really believe that any advocacy movement needs celebration.
Totally.
We need
for sure.
positive ways to get people together, and you need to feel good about something when you leave. If people are going to keep doing it, if they're going to keep coming back, and if they're going to say, oh, you know, I want to get engaged in this effort. I met these really great people. You know, I had a really great conversations. Now I know this thing, and I really think that, like, obviously we need drastic environmental action. My background's in environmental education, and something that I always push is like, take a baby step, integrate it into your life, and then you can say, oh, that was easy. What do I do next?
Yep.
What's the next step I can take?
Yeah.
And
Little
then
bites.
little bites, and then suddenly you're really living much closer in step with the earth. You're living within a community that's closer in step with the earth, and you know, then trees get planted and flowers bloom, and your home no longer floods, and it's all good stuff.
Overflowing with positive things, green spaces,
Yep.
less flooding, less crime.
Yeah. And the more we do it and the more we want to do it, the more it happens. And you know, we're hoping to create this snowball effect. Everything that we've learned was that traditional FYI, our incentive program, was really great at building a movement and building more constant and open conversation around the installation of green infrastructure. And that was our goal. That was the goal, was to build this movement. And so I think it's in a different place now than it was 10 years ago, which is important. We've still got a long way to go. So hopefully these events are a way to get some folks involved, teach you some things, introduce you to some people. So we hope folks come out.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Where are they being held at?
Different places.
Okay.
Different places. And as of this recording, still TBD.
Okay.
But by the time you're listening to this, all of that information is on our website, on our social media.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Do you want to walk us through these fancy stakes that I'm sure will come up and at FYI series?
Yeah. So these are our native plant ID signs. And we have about a little over 30 of them now. They are for the purpose of teaching people about native plants, what they are, what they look like, providing more information. We've got a QR code on here that leads you to a native plant resources page.
Nice.
It includes a lot of local information as well as a link to the Lady Bird Johnson Wildflower Center, which has a complete database of every plant in North America, indigenous to North America. They are all for our local plants. They include this picture of the plant's most charismatic feature. So I brought a few because they're super pretty. Like everything that we do that comes out well, we had a committee and a lot of really beautiful brains involved. And so everything about these signs, from the design to the stake, is really well thought through. They're easy to read. They will withstand stormwater and flooding. I'm showing pretty much only purple examples today because these came out of my personal garden, and so now you know what I like. But like I said, we've got over 30 of them.
A beauty berry.
Oh, they're beautiful. Yeah, these grow well in the forests around here. They've got these gorgeous purple berries. I think they taste like perfume. People make jelly out of them. This beautiful purple jelly. It's really good. So yeah, that's a native edible, wild edible that grows really well, just like in a yard. Of course, we've got the iris. Sweet bay magnolia is a tree. We've got signs for shrubs, for ground cover, for flowering annuals, for several trees. And we also, I didn't bring it today, but we have a larger sign that just says native plants grow here, with a little introduction to why native plants are important. We find that because Louisiana native plants look much more wild, and they get really big, they get really bushy. They don't resemble our traditional like English style gardens, because this is not England. These gardens tend to be looked down upon. People think that they're blighted, that they're neglected. And so native gardeners often get cited for blight. Their gardens are mowed. And so putting these signs out helps these spaces feel intentional. And helps people understand, no, this is something. You don't know what you're looking at, but here, there's a QR code. Go learn what you're looking at.
This is the American beauty berry. How dare you?
Exactly.
Put some respect on her name.
Literally.
Thank you. So that's the goal, right?
Yeah.
We had a teacher tell us, she bought a few of the signs. You can anybody can buy them on our website. We do ask for help with the cost of producing them, and that's all outlined on the website. She bought a few for her school. They'd had to let their landscapers go because of budget issues. And so the teachers were working together on a native garden, which looked the way I just described.
Yeah.
Right.
She put some signs in and she said, now it feels intentional. And so we actually got a grant to have her and a couple other educators help us over the summer develop educational activities and modules that can be adapted by teachers for their classroom around the signs. To use the signs.
Yeah, the kids would be able to be incorporated into caring for it and learning. Yeah, that's really exciting.
Yeah, so no idea what that's going to look like until maybe the end of July. We're doing that over the summer when the teachers are available. So I'm really, really excited to just be able to offer that resource to the educator community as well.
That is beautiful.
Yeah.
What are some other ways that people can get more involved in Urban Conservancy? I mean, it seems like there's a little something for everybody. There's something for homeowners. There's something for casual gardeners. There's something for advocates. There's something for teachers. But what's the best first step in the door, would you say?
Well, like you said, I think it depends on what your interest is. If you're interested in native plants, check out our Native Plant Resources site. If you own a small business, or if you love a small business, check out Stay Local, which also has its own complete web presence. If you're interested in learning more about green infrastructure, we have a whole resources page with just a ton of information, connections to contractors, so on and so forth. Just poke around our website and see what you think. We want to support local business. We want to support our urban environment, and we're hoping that people can find lots of ways to plug in. If you want to come weed out on Dwyer Road, we're always looking for volunteers for that. Or we've got a few other sites that we help people take care of around the city. Always an opportunity to weed some gardens.
Love that.
Definitely.
Something for everybody.
Yeah.
So don't be scared. Get on the website. Check out.
We're very friendly.
Yeah. See what sparks your interest. So we love to ask a fun question to wind down the episode. So our question for you is, what's your favorite thing to see in your front yard?
Every year I take a photograph of my first iris.
Oh.
And then I have trouble like scrolling back to be like, look at my iris. And then I love this time of year because everything's blooming. It goes from seeming like it is just a weed patch to being like, hi neighbors, look, it's black-eyed Susans and it's blanket flowers and it's
I told you there were flowers here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I love that. I love just seeing everything bloom in the mess. Yeah.
I love imagining your camera roll. It's like the first day of school, kind of, where like, parents have the same photo every year. You're like in April every year, or March, this is my first iris. This is my first iris of 2024. Yeah.
This iris. See, she looks a little different this year.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. And I don't get a ton of sun in my yard, so I don't get a lot of blooms. They do very well in terms of the plants, but I don't get a ton of blooms. So I'm very proud of the few that I have.
Love that.
What about you, Brenna?
My neighborhood has a ton of cats, and we don't feed them at my house. They have enough food advocates in the neighborhood, trust me. But I do love to see them like roosting by my house, like in the mulch outside or something. So I'll pull up after going out with, friends at dinner. I'll come back at like 10 p.m. and there's just a little orange cat in my mulch bed. And I'm like, you live here too. Cute. Yeah. I love that.
You're here too. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's your house too.
It's your house too. Exactly.
And the cat's like, oh, I'm sorry. Is this your house too?
Right. Who invited you here?
Totally. I'm the guest for sure. What about you?
I don't have much of a green thumb, but I have a couple cactus that every day that I look outside and they're still thriving, I'm like, I've done it.
Yeah.
Like, you're alive, I'm alive, we're good.
We're going through this together.
Yeah.
I'm gonna water you and I'm also gonna hydrate myself. Like, we're gonna get through this together. Yes.
That's a fantastic way to relate to plants. When you hydrate them, make sure to hydrate yourself, because we're so often better at taking care of others than we are at taking care of ourselves.
So true. Yeah. So you mentioned the launch of the revamped website, but where else can people find Urban Conservancy?
We're on Instagram, Urban Conservancy, and we're on Facebook as the Urban Conservancy. And we're always posting pictures of our native plant signs, our youth programs, our here's another way you can get involved. If you happen to be undergoing an installation on your property, a green infrastructure installation on your property, we want before and after photos. We want to see your before and after photos, and we want to hear your story, and we want to put it on our social media, and we want to tell everybody. You never know who you're going to inspire.
Beautiful.
So, yeah.
Well, this was so lovely, Emily. Thank you for coming in.
Yeah, thank you for having me and being interested in all this stuff.
Thanks for listening to Missions Bayou, powered by Comfy Stone. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to follow the podcast wherever you listen. And if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe and drop a comment, letting us know your thoughts and who you'd like to hear from next. We'll see y'all next time.